Animal sacrifice, human sacrifice. What role did that play in for the Maya, for the Aztec, for the different cultures here? Was that religious in nature?
It was absolutely religious in nature, and the Aztecs were of the opinion that that the war god demanded people were captured and sacrificed, and it had to be valuable people. There was a lot of before they made that big standing army, they had just ritual battles that they would have, and they'd take captives. In fact, all around Mesoamerica, they wanted captives so that they could bring them back and sacrifice them for the gods. And the Aztecs, deciding to specifically follow the war god, did this more than anybody. They did it so much and so successfully that they didn't have any enemies nearby. So they decided this one poor sucker group, not that far away, called the Tlaxcalans, that they were never going to make peace with them, so that they could go close by every year and just have a little symbolic war with the Tlaxcalans and haul them back for a sacrifice. Cortez met those guys, and he was like, here are people who hate their guts. I'll just use these guys. So, we say, oh, Cortez took over the Aztec world. It was Cortez and 20,000 super pissed off Tlaxcalans.
And they actually sacrifice what? So there would be kind of these ritual battles, or is it chopping off people's heads? And is there some interesting rituals around the sacrifice?
It's mostly heart extraction, sometimes heads, but they bring them up on top of the temple so everybody can see it. And they had a specific stone where they would bend them over so their rib cage would come out. And they'd use like a thick obsidian knife, and they had a really just like tried and true way to do it. They'd stab it in a certain place close, and then they'd push down on the sternum as they ripped up on the rib cage. And they just make a place where they could just rip it right out.
With their hand.
With their hand. But they were really just surgical about it. They'd use a thick obsidian knife where they could just break the ribs right along the sternum and then push the sternum down, pull up, and just...
While the person was alive?
Yep, while the person was alive. And the Aztecs had this idea, like there was a horrible drought that went on that almost ruined the entire valley. And they came to this conclusion that it's because we haven't been killing enough people.
Right.
We've got to bump this up. And then when they did, and they decided they really took it out on the Tlaxcalans, it rained again. So it was proof positive that they should just keep doing that. And they ate people as well. They really did.
As part of the sacrifice, or is this...
After the sacrifice, then they would eat them. And this was part of the drought and the famine thing that started. But then it was just kind of the thing to do. When Cortez got there, they were still having certain special feasts that involved humans. And it really upset the Spanish that they would be like tricked into eating human. Like, hey, you liking dinner? That was a human.
So the idea, was it actually having a taste for human flesh, or is it just, these kinds of ideas of like if you eat a person's heart, that you can get their spirit and their strength? And
in the case of the Aztecs, it seemed like they just liked it. This guy Sahagun, who was a very responsible chronicler, that was pretty specific that like there was a distribution thing.
Yeah,
like the elites got butts. The butts were the best part. So the butt cheeks, really? Those are the best parts to eat. And then like it went down the chain until some people just got like fingers and toes.
Literally about taste for the Aztec.
Yeah.
Boy. All right.
They really did. They really did. In fact, that's what caused the, have you heard of the Noche Triste, the sad night?
Mm.
The night that the Aztecs really go nuts on the Spanish and kick them out. It's all triggered by this one guy, Pedro de Alvarado, who's left in charge by Cortez, as Cortez goes to the coast and tries to talk to the new force, talk them into being for him, which he does. But Pedro Alvarado's left back in town in charge, and they're doing another one of these huge Aztec buffets and parties to honor them. And it happens. The guy says, hey, do you like dinner? Like, oh, yeah, it's a nice dinner. Well, it's humans. You're eating humans. See, I told you they were good. And Alvarado just freaks out, and he has the guards close the doors, and he murders everyone in the party, women, children. Nobody has weapons. He just murders everyone. And that's what spazzes the Aztecs out to eventually murder Montezuma, who was their captive, and then try to murder all of them. And it was all Pedro Alvarado's fault for freaking out about eating humans.
Just a little practical joke.
Yeah, it was just, they thought it was funny. He did not.
That's fascinating. I didn't realize. So I kind of assumed that some level of cannibalism would have to do with, eating the heart to gain the spirit of the person or something like this. But
In certain, like, deer hunting rituals, things for sure. But the Aztecs, no, they just liked eating humans. It was part of the fear factor, too. I mean, they could walk into a new town and be like, you guys could either send us, a number of Quetzal feathers every month, or we could eat you.
so that's psychological warfare and actual warfare. It worked, and that's how they spread quickly.
Mm-hmm. And they were just about to take over the Maya when the Spanish came and messed everything up. They had the Maya surrounded, and they were about to take over the whole Yucatan.
So you think without the Spanish, there would be this Aztec Empire that would last for a very long time?
Well, I think there would have been an Aztec Empire. I think they would have finished dominating everybody, but they did it through hate, and everybody hated the Aztecs.
Did.
So it wouldn't have lasted forever. They were not ruling justly. They were ruling by force, and that can only go on so long before revolution happens.